Hello, I'm Trudy, One Grounded Angel, and this is the weekly angel card reading messages that I do every week. Obviously, that's what a week means, just for Monday to Friday of each week, and I do the weekends on my social media accounts. My Instagram is @OneGroundedAngel, and my Facebook page is called One Grounded Angel, and I post each card on there as well, and I can go into a bit more information there as well. So this is just intended to be a very general overview of the sort of things that are going to come up for us this week, and the purpose of that is so that we can see what patterns are coming through, what sort of energy is going to be surrounding us this week, because forearmed is also, well, forewarned, but you know, it just helps us kind of, the messages, even though you may not remember them, will stay in your subconscious, and that'll come to the fore when you need to remember them. So that's why I do these, and also so we can see the themes. So we'll start with Monday, the 22nd of August. Released. How very appropriate. So we had a really intense full moon on Thursday. Who felt it? I did. I was really emotional, and I felt that start to subside the day after. So it was a bit of a build-up. You know, sometimes we are just emotional for no reason, but there was a real pull with it, and I could tell there was something going on. Well, I knew already anyway to expect it, but I'm not always affected by the full moons. The reason this one was affecting a lot of people, it was almost the lunar eclipse. It was a big one. So going back to this, the full moon is about releasing, and we're still, even though that energy has started to ebb away, you know, the full moon is, the energy can still be around us. And what you might have found is that it brought up a lot of things, particularly old stuff that you needed to clear. And there were, because we had other stuff going on as well, there was a real sense of bringing forth insights that we needed to address. So bits of information, and the card supported this as well last week, about what we need to be looking at, some thoughts and ideas and concepts that were coming through. So here, it's almost like a confirmation card saying, you know that stuff that was going on, they're kind of saying, what are you going to do about it? You know what you need to do. How are you going to start? You know what you need to let go of. How are you going to go about that? Are you going to try and arrest those thoughts in some way? Are you going to try and do some forgiveness work if it's about a relationship, for example? Are you going to actively not spend time with certain people? Or it's up to you. Only you can know how to do that. And for some of you, it's too hard right now, and that's okay. The important thing is that you're thinking about how you're going to do that. And if you're ready, and I hope that you are, because you're the only one who can know that. I hope that you are, because when we let things go, we create the space for new things to come through, and that's really exciting and necessary. We're not here to stagnate, we're here to grow, and we can't do that if we're still holding on to old stuff. So this is about releasing, and sorry, I'm listening. They're really wanting you to know that even though it's scary to let go of things, if things are dead, you're better off without them. So, you know, as humans, we have a tendency to hold on to things that are familiar, even though they actually don't serve us anymore. And the angels want you to know that there is something better. Don't think that just because it's familiar, it's okay to hold on. It's not. There is something better, even though it's uncertain. They're looking after you. So it is going to be okay. So trust them and let go. So that was Monday. Looking at Tuesday, the 23rd of August now. Oh, we have two cards. I love it when they do this. Okay, we've got trust and stand by your commitment. So I'll start with trust. Trust is really about trusting your intuition and about trusting the path that you're on. So I talked about this already in terms of not knowing what's ahead, and that can be scary, but they want you to trust that everything is going to be okay, and trust the way you feel pulled towards, because there is something greater ahead that we don't know about. You know, I said this before, but we can only ever see this much. The universe can see the whole thing, and that's why they're saying it is going to be okay. You can walk forward and trust. So that's a beautiful, reassuring message. And we also have stand by your commitment. So that's a very similar kind of theme. It's really about honouring the plans that you set out to do, the goals that you've set, your intentions, honouring those, not backing out because it's a bit hard or because it's scary and you're worried that it might not work out. It's meant to be hard and it's meant to be scary. That's because it's good. Fear comes up and we're provoked by fear when we're on the right path because it's challenging for us. And it's meant to be, there's a whole lot of motivational quotes I could blast at you right now. But, that old thing about if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And that's true here too. So very similar messages here about keep going. That's really the essence here. So looking at Wednesday the 24th, shuffling game again. Aphrodite, woohoo! This is the inner goddess. It's your for the women, it's your feminine kind of powers. And by the way, men have feminine energy as well, just like women have masculine energy. And ideally, we want a balance, but that's quite difficult to achieve. But we want to still strive for a balance. So for the ladies, this is about getting in touch with your inner feminine side. Now, that doesn't mean you have to go and put on a whole bunch of makeup and wear dresses. If that's not you, that's totally fine. It's about the inner stuff that's important. So a really good way to get in touch with your feminine side is dance. So movement, and we know that the ethnic groups of, say, Hawaii, they have a lot of emphasis on women doing dances. It's because movement is how you channel that kind of energy. I'm a terrible dancer, but I do it anyway, and that's because it's something that stimulates that movement of energy. We're not very good at doing, unless you're, dancing is a regular thing for you because it's a hobby. It's not something we tend to make time to do. So that can be really difficult, but we should make time to do it because it stimulates that movement, and when we do that, we start to let go of the things that we're carrying, the stress, the weight, that burden of the emotional stresses that are on our mind. And we also get back in touch with and connected with our bodies, so we don't take our bodies for granted. Now, there's also a lot about sex in this. So if you're in a relationship and your sex life is really quite stagnant, they're challenging you to tune into your feminine energy to get that going again, because sex is a really powerful expression of your connection if you're in a relationship. So you do, it's normal to go through, a lull, but you want to try and get that moving again, because that's how you connect as a couple. It's a really important form of intimacy for you. Now, what else do we need to know about this? They're really just talking about honouring the goddess within. So, that can also be things like self-care and looking after yourself. So for the mums, self-care tends to fall to the bottom of your to-do list, I know, or any busy person. So it's really important that you are making time to look after yourself, and that's how you honour the beauty within you. It's not about getting a manicure because, that's a girly thing to do. It's about doing that because it's a form of self-love. So, and we need to be doing that. Part of the feminine energy is about nurturing, because we're the mums. And even if you don't have children, I don't. We're still here to nurture. So, and men as well. Men are also here to do that as well, but it's really kind of highlighted more in the female energy. So you want to tap into that in terms of the way that you nurture yourself, primarily here is what they're talking about. So that's self-care. That's about picking yourself up when you're feeling down. It's about honouring your emotions, and it's about honouring your need to give your body what it needs, which could be sleep, quality food, all of that stuff. I'll just leave it at that, because there are so many different paths I could go down with this. And when I post this on my Instagram, I'll try to get a bit more direction about what they really want to target, because there are so many different things, and it's going to mean different things to different people. But for those of you who know your Greek mythology, you'll know a bit about Aphrodite and how she's very seductive. And that doesn't necessarily mean sex, but it can mean about the way that you can, your beauty is an important form of self-expression. Again, it's not about external beauty. So looking at Thursday now, the 25th of August, I started doing these cards, and I think it was about February or March, I'm not exactly sure, but it's quite shocking to me that we're in August already, but this has been such a valuable thing to do, and I'm so glad that I started this, even though it's not I'm not a natural speaker, as you can probably tell. I'm a writer, and but this is a really valuable way to connect with you and to really kind of show you the process of how I tune into the energy, how I choose the cards, and how I bring forth those messages. So we've got here Xana, and it's about it's a safety message. So Xana is an angel on this card, not an archangel, so they're kind of the higher realm. So still a very holy angel, but not of that top hierarchy. But so her message is about making sure that you're safe. When we don't feel safe, we make choices that limit us. We don't chase our dreams. We don't connect with people. We don't pursue new relationships. We're worried about our security. And now that when I say safety, and when I first started, looking into my spirituality, safety was the thing that came up for me a lot. That's that base chakra stuff. For those of you who are into Reiki, probably comes up in Kundalini yoga and all sorts of things. That was a real trigger for me, but I got confused because I didn't feel safe. I was like, but I can walk down my street, I don't feel threatened. What is a threat to me? My life isn't threatened. So it was very difficult for me to understand that it's sort of an emotional safety and security that they were talking about, these messages that I was getting. And it's really about knowing that you are provided for by the universe. You're not going to, end up destitute, which for me is a constant, not a threat, but it's something that can lurk at the back of my mind because I'm self-employed. However, it's important not to focus on that because we attract what we're afraid of. So I can't invest emotional energy into that. Even though it will come up for me, I have to shut that down. So, and really do some work on my energy to remind myself that I'm supported by the universe. So it's also things like not just financial security and knowing that we have enough. It's also about knowing that you're safe within yourself. It's safe to be you. And some of my, sorry, not to make it all about me, some of my issues around safety were also about feeling safe enough to release my spiritual side and to do this sort of stuff, which puts me, open for ridicule. It opens me up to judgment, to labeling, all sorts of things, and it does cost friendships as well, which arguably were perhaps not good friendships anyway if they could not withstand this sort of thing, because this is my life purpose. Reading angel cards for people is what I'm here to do. So people who are provoked by that and not comfortable with it, that was going to happen. I was going to have to shed away those connections. However, that's scary because, again, as I said with this initial card, we tend to hold on to the familiar, even though we know it's not serving us, because we're human, and our sense of security and safety is built around what we know and what's familiar. The things that we want to pursue, that involves us stepping into the unfamiliar, and that is really scary. So here, I know I've gone slightly off track here, but bear with me, I'm bringing it back now. This is about knowing you are safe. You are safe to be yourself. You are safe to go after what you want. You are looked after by the universe. Everything you need is provided for you. That is an affirmation I say almost every day in my meditations, even if I don't feel unsafe at that point. It's something to remind myself. Everything I need is provided for me. I am safe. I am safe. I say that multiple times a day, and I need it personally, and perhaps you do too. We need to feel safe so that we're comfortable within our own skin. When we know we're safe, we can go after what we can grow, we can expand, we can do the things that we want to do, we can connect with people, we can take risks, sensible risks. I mean, like starting a new business, and know that we are provided for and we are looked after by the universe. Okay, Friday. talked a lot on that one. You can see already some of these patterns that are forming, but of course I will summarize at the end. So looking at Friday, end of the week. Activist. This is a very unusual card. I very rarely get this card. What's beautiful about it is it has Mother Teresa on it. So I'm sure I don't need to fill you in on her situation. So the activist card is about standing up for what you believe in. At its very simplest form, that is what this card is about. So now this doesn't mean you need to move to India and start an orphanage there. If you feel called to do that, and I salute you if that's what is right for you, by all means go for it. However, you don't need to if that's not right for you. So the activist card is really comes up, actually very seldom comes up. I don't think I've even really had it in a client reading that I've done so far that I can recall. But it would come up for someone who needs to stand up for their value system. Now, I know people are all about a lot of people are about their religion and what they believe in, but I try to separate that from religion and churches and say, what is your value system? What do you believe in? For example, one of my values is treating people the way I want to be treated myself, being kind to people, sending out love. Now, that doesn't mean to say I honour those every single day. Of course, I'm human, I make mistakes. I deviate from those values and I have to bring it back in and remind myself I've gone off track. What do you believe in? What's important to you? What are your values? My value is not to chase. One of my values is not to chase money. It's to chase what I feel passionate about and to trust that I'll be financially supported with that. So if you really want to get to the essence of this, and you'll know if you need to, your intuition will prompt you. What is your value system? What do you believe in? And how are you showing up for that in your life? Are you, for example, if honouring yourself and respecting yourself is important to you, as I hope it is for all of you, how are you doing that? Are you letting someone at work, for example, harass you? Are you letting someone take credit for your work? All sorts of things. I mean, those are just examples off the top of my head. But things like, are you having a fight or some sort of conflict with your partner and perhaps you're not standing up for what you believe in enough? Are you not, I don't know, it could even be, if you want to go into this activist stuff, perhaps there is a community project that you're really passionate about, a human rights issue, anything like that you feel really, and last week, the full moon in Aquarius, which as I mentioned is still lingering, Aquarius is, the age of Aquarius. It's all about revolution. It's about getting involved in human rights issues, social justice. They're all associated with Aquarius. So if you're an Aquarius, you probably already invested in some sort of personal, excuse me, generally on a wider scale with Aquarians, it tends to be, and this is if you, no matter what your sun sign is, what your ascendant sign is, because that's our life purpose, you're probably already pursuing something like this. Perhaps you're involved with Greenpeace, perhaps you're, I don't know, campaigning for refugees. I don't know what it is. It can be any of these things, but the time is certainly right to go after that. If that right now the energy supports you to do it, if those big issues are important to you, as they should be to all of us. But even though we can all care about these things, not all of us are called to actually get into the coalface and do something about it. To start the petitions, to write the government letters, to whatever it is. If that's you, this is your green light, do it. If it's important to you, then that's probably part of your life purpose. So looking back at the week, I just found a random card that has jumped out, and I'm just going to put that to the side. We'll go for over the week now, and then I'll bring up that card. So we had the release on Monday. We've got trusting in where we're going and sticking with it. We've got really a need to tune into our that female energy, love. Aphrodite, Venus, it's all about love. So we've got safety and security, which is tied in with this release, and going after what you want, because you need to feel safe to do that. So, and we've also got the activist card, which is doesn't really tie in, but there's something in here for all of us in terms of standing up for ourselves and what we believe in. and that can cover a wide range of things. It can even be a good way to think of this one actually is advocate, the word advocate. So if you're a parent, your job is to be an advocate for your child. That means if something's going on at their school that you don't feel is honouring your child's gifts or their direction, that you're an advocate for them and you go in and you chat and you sort that out. So it's going to mean a lot of, probably going to put a new spin on things for you. So this other card that's come up is Desiree, conditions aren't favourable right now. I have no idea how this card ended up right in front of me because it did not jump out when I was shuffling. It's from the same deck as the Thursday card, and I don't know how, but it's right here, and they're telling me I need to tell you about it. And it's essentially a red light or an amber light. Conditions aren't favourable right now, so hold off. So now that seems contradictory when we were just talking about going forward with what we're chasing. But this, they're saying this is for some of you who are going after something that you know is a little bit off. So it's not talking about this stuff here in terms of what you were already chasing, what your goals are, your big life purpose stuff. This is about, I think for some of you it's a financial venture that you've been presented with. It's something that you know is risky, and there's a degree of risk in anything we do, obviously, but there's something about this, and you need to trust your intuition. For most of you, this will be like, don't know, disregard, but for some of you, this is a real, you need to exercise some caution. It's not a no, it's a not yet. If you have serious concerns that you can't necessarily explain, and they're not just, I am freaked out because this is new, there's something that just doesn't sit quite right. You need to listen to that and wait. I wish they hadn't thrown that spanner in the works. That really confuses things because it's not going to relate to a lot of you, but you know, my job is just to pass on the messages, so I just have to tell you that and trust that whoever needs it will get it. So I will post these on my Instagram and Facebook as always. Thank you so much for your wonderful feedback and support. I do this because it's my job. When I say job, I don't get paid for it. I mean, it's my job, it's my soul's job in this lifetime. That's part of what I'm here to do, my life purpose. So even though this is not something I'm totally comfortable with, it's what I need to do. So I'm doing this because it feels right, and so when I get really amazing feedback from you guys saying that's helped you, that really means a lot to me. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I really hope that you will use these messages in the way that feels right for you. It's always your own intuition that you need to honour ultimately, and these are kind of just guidelines, and you know, part of our big challenges as human beings is to trust those messages, and it takes time, but I hope that these will light the way for you in some way. Thank you again, and I will put these on my social media, and I will do another video for you next week, and we will see what comes up for us next week. Thank you so much for all your love and support. Take care.